Greetings folks, Jason here. I hope you're all doing fantastic. I wanted to share a quick and interesting story with you that I think is going to resonate with a lot of you. And it really comes down to the one magical question: how do we increase profits within our business? And it typically relates not to cost-cutting exercises like, not spending as much money or reducing staff or reducing things of that nature. It's more a strategy of increasing sales and marketing. And that takes me back to a story literally probably 10, 12 years ago when I was really getting into the early developments of internet marketing. And as an educationalist, I'd already chosen education as my passion. In fact, choosing your passion to be involved in your business makes sure that you never work a day in your life, as it said. And it was something that I was really and truly excited about. But the passion that actually came to me around education and so on, and learning and helping people acquire new skills that help them overcome challenges, was really, really critical for me. And it was a big moving point. And in fact, it was just recently one of the discussion points that I was having with one of my customers when I said to him, what is your passion? Because we wanted to build his strategy around his sales and marketing. And we were talking about passion, and we got into a very interesting discussion around passion and how really valuable it is. And it's all about giving value. And so part of the story was about me telling you why I do what I do. And yes, I'm an educationalist. I provide training and courses. I've provided training courses through my various companies to over 1.2 million people. And it is something that I love and enjoy. And I've seen people grow from zero to hero in short time frames. And it's something that I really get a lot of passion out of. And it actually came about via a book called The Passion Test, which I did many, many years ago. And it helped me to actually discover my passion. But I think Jay Abraham, also another one of my mentors, really hit it on the head here. And he says, the key of all life is value. Value is not what you get, it's what you give. And he is renowned for speaking about being able to, if you are able to give something to your customers and you don't do it, and you hold back or don't do it well, you're doing them a disservice and you're doing yourself a disservice, because that's where the real magic comes from. So this was an interesting story that spun around as we were chatting with my client and so on, and we got deeper and deeper into this. But what it really did was it enlightened to me something that had happened many, many years ago. And it was all about my interest, my growing interest in noting how marketing, which was my major, is now shifting and changing away from traditional marketing. So we're all quite familiar with traditional marketing like newspaper and radio and things of that nature. And it was something that we were doing actively then for the business. And in actual fact, it was something that was actually doing pretty well up until around sort of 2004 or so. It was doing very, very well indeed. But it was an expensive exercise. And unfortunately, around about that time, we were analyzing and monitoring our traffic and our statistics on our advertisements, and noticing that for the first time, we got to kind of an uncomfortable tipping point, which meant that we were spending more money on advertising than what we were getting back on leads and sales. So this was critical, and obviously not a bad decision, and not a good decision, at least anyway, to continue on with this. And we needed to stop this bad decision. So we started looking at new strategies, and I realized that internet marketing was something that was being spoken about a great deal, and there were only a handful of people at that point who were even bringing systems and ideas to the market. And it was about that point when I did the research. In fact, it was one of my mentors who had actually advised me to look into a particular online marketing strategy. And I went online and I had a look at this, and it was all deliciously online. It all worked perfectly. And I kind of went through the course, went through the program and said, this is something we need to have. I need to learn this content. And I immediately bought up that program. What was important then is that they made me a second offer, and they said, well, you've now bought the program, the learning that you need to do, you're going to need this piece of software to drive it. And I knew that. We ran a software training company, so I really understood the importance of having that piece of important key of software in place so that it would help us to run the marketing. Remember, this was all brand new, and I was pretty excited to get into it. And I had marketing as a background, so I was looking for the transition to get to digital marketing. And it was very, very exciting, and I delved into it. But life comes along, and sometimes we make these mistakes. We get that opportunity that could shift us so dramatically, and then we let the urgency of life or things happen and let us put that to one side. And urgency in business and so on did exactly that. And I kind of, put it on the back burner and didn't give it the attention that it needed. Well, it was a little while later when we really hit a new stumbling block. Not only did we have reduced sales from our marketing advertisements and so on that we were doing, but we also had a sudden decline in sales. Now, I was actually traveling to a remote branch at that point, and I got a call from my financial director to say he thought that I needed to go and take a visit at one of our head office branch, in actual fact, and go and have a look at what was going on there, because there was not only was sales declining, but there was also kind of a disruption in attitude, and we were kind of feeling this discourse. So I went through that and I only discovered that a new team that we'd taken on just 2 months before that, of a good 10 or 15 people, had turned into a bit of a nightmare. I suppose that's all I can call it. And it was something that is I think anything that any business or even person hates to hear, when you have somebody within your circle who is trying to take you down. And we had a bunch of people that were in this small sales group that had been taken on and had now been finished training, and now were required to do the job that they needed to do, and were fighting it tooth and nail, and were preventing doing any of the work that they needed to do, and so on. So it was a big deal, and our sales managers were going through the disciplinary process and so on. It was messy. But I arrived and I realized that this bad energy was causing a huge dysfunction, and it also taught me something hugely important about something called culture, and the value of having a good, strong, healthy, important culture in place. And now suddenly that culture was under attack. But it did two things for me. The one was that our sales and marketing was already on a decline. And number two, we now had sales teams that were not performing, but we had a huge increase in salary and so on, and salary budget and so on. So although we had good close on 30 or 40 people, salespeople at that time, this was causing a disruption in our lives. And it really made me nervous. In fact, we went through the next couple of weeks of lots of challenges with disciplinary processes and so on, and it wasn't nice. It's the kind of part of life and your job that you really don't enjoy. And at that point, I kind of just wish that I was just an employee, that I could kind of resign and run away in a way. And I still remember that night I was driving home. It was really a winter stormy night. It was already dark. I was stuck in traffic. It was raining. I had the radio turned on low, and I was just kind of contemplating, what do we do right here? And I was in that space of, this is crazy. I feel like we're going to get into bad situations. Already I'd thrown all my cash flow into the business in the last 2 or 3 months to kind of balance out the shortfalls and so on. Personally, I didn't have any more. Personally, we were already, at that point where you're kind of like starting to wonder how you're going to pay your next bills, and how you're going to eat, these kind of crazy things. And it was a very disrupting kind of feeling, because up until then we had been doing really, really well in the business, and the business had been growing considerably. And this was a very, very delicate time. It was my passion, it was my love, it was my baby. And in actual fact, right now I'm sitting in a situation where I didn't know how to save the two biggest things that are resulting in profits and success in the business: sales and marketing. And it was all driven around this. So I'm sitting there in the traffic, and I'm almost, in that depression mode of just feeling like everything's doom. And I kind of suddenly have this clarity where I ask myself, well, what are the two problems? Well, the one problem is our marketing sucks. It's just not doing it anymore. And the other problem is our sales team suck. At least some of them are not doing their job, and it's just wasted salary for a resource that's not actually doing what they need to do. So I realized to myself, well, those are the two things that I need to remedy with a new situation. And right there and then, I have this kind of penny drop, and I'm like, you fool, you saw this years before. You knew this was coming. You knew that digital marketing was coming to such an extent that it could be the magic, the silver bullet. It could be something that, could reduce the reliance on too many salespeople or on bad marketing. And so suddenly, right there, while I'm sitting there, I realize, gosh, it's sitting right there at home. I've already bought this program. I've got the software. I've got everything in place. And so what I did was, over the next couple of days, I immersed myself in this fully. I had my IT team setting up the software. I was going through all this content, and I was learning incredible amounts. And it's so important to remember this, that education and learning, which is my passion, is the stuff that brings new ideas to the table and brings new successes. And I can tell you that right now digital marketing is exploding, and I was just immersing myself in it and learning all this new stuff, and realizing there were a whole lot of secrets that I could be employing that wouldn't rely on traditional print sales and marketing and so on, and wouldn't rely on my sales team. I also learned something else in that process, was that redefine your offer. change your offer in such a way that it's no longer just offering a program or a course or a product, but change it into a way that it becomes an offer that your customers just can't refuse. It's something that they want because the value is so great and it's such a good answer to the challenges that they had. So what I did was we quickly put a brand new offer together, and instead of taking, I think it was 4 courses that we had that we were charging standard price for, but what we did there to increase the value tremendously is we added 14 extra courses, highly demand courses, to that bundle, as you like to call it, and we marketed it as that at a very low price of only the 4 courses. So it was dramatic, it was breakthrough, nobody was doing it in the marketplace, and we put this together, and I still felt, and I still remember when I showed it to people were coming back to me and saying, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? Because this seems a bit of a crazy offer. But one of my coaches had actually told me, he said to me, make sure that when you ask yourself, is this a crazy offer, that you feel like the answer is yes, because the offer should be magnificent. So what we did is we used the software, we put a whole digital campaign together, and what we did was in the next week and a half, we released this to a database that I'd already had in place because I'd written a database for our business, about 30,000 email addresses and clients on there. And we were able to reach those people for the first time instantaneously without having salespeople in place, and certainly without paying expensive advertisements in newspapers and things of that nature. Suddenly, right there, for an investment that I'd already made a few years before, I had a solution to reach my customer base quickly and instantly overnight. It wasn't that easy, of course, although I had that great breakthrough and that epiphany and it was all great. We had to go through a lot of still teething problems and so on. One of the examples was that the internet that we had just wasn't fast enough. In fact, it wasn't even available. So what we did was we put that in place, and we went out there and changed out our internet connectivity and our ISP and so on, and actually put together an offer that was just wow. And hit the send button. And within the next 48 hours, we had a slew of people contacting us and taking up that offer, to the point that it was actually overwhelming. And I still remember taking a call from one of my clients personally, that they'd left a message for me and saying, are you guys sure about this offer that you've sent to us? Because this is amazing. In fact, what it means is that we can use our budget accurately for the next year and train all the people that we wanted to. So it was already a breakthrough. In fact, that one order was many tens of thousands of dollars worth of sales just in one order alone. So it was very, very powerful indeed. And we went on to grow that system and break all records. And it was all around digital marketing, all around this sales funnel. So we had a sales funnel traditionally previously that was run by salespeople. And now what I'd done is I'd taken that sales funnel and made it a digital sales funnel that worked 24/7. And what was wonderful about that was it meant that it could continue working on its own. And I fell so in love with digital marketing that I decided to make it a course. And over the last couple of years, we've been teaching many people on how to do digital marketing, how to apply it to your business and so on, and create magic within your business. And it's something that one sales funnel, being able to understand how it worked and use it in place in my business, transformed my entire business. And it gave me a lot of what I do today. I'm still an educationalist. I still teach people new skills through my business and through my many activities. But the one thing that changed for me right there was that now I also do digital marketing, because I'm looking for things that can change the world. And I know that for most businesses out there, the one thing that you need more of is more profits, more sales, and more success. And digital marketing can help you achieve that, just as it did for me. So that's a little bit of the why I do what I do these days, and why I do the Easy Entrepreneur program and the U-Design program and so on, to actually teach people all kinds of skills. But particularly in this case, digital marketing is one of those things that can transform your business. And I'd like to show you how to do that. So please have a look around, join our Facebook site and so on, and let's see you on the other side. But it's been great talking to you guys. Cheers from Jason. Bye.